There's no reason that you would know this, but my daughter is an excellent baker and my wife is an amazing cook. But what may be less of a surprise is that I'm not either of those things. Sure, I can make some eggs and pancakes, but that's about it. Anyway, I've often thought that there are lessons that we can take away from the parallel cooking world and apply them to the magic world. I recognize that the comparison with magic could have been anything, so why cooking? For one, both magic and cookbooks provide step-by-step instruction for learning and performing tricks or preparing a recipe. They often break down complex procedures into manageable stages, allowing learners to follow along and replicate the desired outcomes. And both mediums rely on written instructions, diagrams, and sometimes even photos to convey the necessary information. Since this channel is all about learning magic from the printed word, I thought this was a great comparison. And yes, while you can watch shows about recipes and cooking, it's not an ideal way to learn, just like in magic. So the question is, what can we learn from the cooking world that will help us with our magic? I've identified 4 parallels that will help us as magicians, so let's get cooking. But before we get into the meat of this episode, you need to know where you can obtain high-quality instruction manuals for your magic. Unlike cookbooks, you're not going to find a large selection of them at your local library or Barnes & Noble. No, you need a specialty dealer like the sponsor of this episode, Don's Magic and Books. Don is one of the best places on the internet to score a great deal on a magic book, whether it's the latest and greatest or something that's been out of print for a while. Don specializes in helping move magic collections from one magician to another. Really, he just wants to see books find a good home where they will be appreciated and used to create better magic. Don offers great deals on all the books on his website, so be sure to visit it by clicking the link down in the description below and find some of the best magic that you can. Oh, and if you can't find what you're looking for, be sure to email Don to get added to his wish list where he'll contact you whenever you're in line for one of the books you've been searching out. Let's get back to discussing what we can learn from the culinary world. The first lesson is that both magic and cooking require the development of very specific skills. In fact, good fundamentals are imperative. In magic, you learn techniques like sleight of hand, misdirection, and the manipulation of props. Similarly, in cooking, you develop skills like knife handling, culinary techniques, and recipe execution. Both disciplines involve a learning curve, where beginners will start with the basics, simple tricks or recipes, and gradually progress to more challenging ones as they build their skills. If you try to take on too advanced a trick or recipe too soon, then you'll fail and get discouraged. On the other hand, if you focus on making simple but enjoyable experiences for people, over time you'll be able to offer more advanced treats, if that's your desire. Within the magic realm, I've already shared what I think are some great resources to help you get started with the basics, and you can find that playlist by clicking on the cards, hopefully in the corner here. The second lesson is about personal interpretation. Just like cooks can add their own unique flair to recipes, magicians can put their own spin on tricks they learn from books. Both cooking and magic create a foundational for personal expression and creativity. Cooks often modify recipes by altering some of the ingredients, flavors, or presentations to better suit their tastes, or experiment with new ideas. Similarly, magicians can adapt tricks by incorporating their personality, changing the presentation, or adding their own touches to create a distinct performance style. The further you go with your performances and library, the more adaptable you'll be. You'll be able to spot those recipes that just work for you simply by reading the description. And you'll see the places where you can add your own dashes of personality before you ever even break out the ingredients. But just like a delicious recipe, even if it's basic, there's absolutely no shame in replicating it exactly as it's written, especially when you're first starting out. Very few people I know would reject an apple pie just because they've had one before. Your audience is still going to enjoy experiencing a handcrafted production from you, even if someone else published the recipe or they've had something similar before. Both magic and cooking require practice and refinement to achieve mastery. In cooking, repetition and experimenting with recipes helps improve your skills, refine your techniques, and develop a sense of taste and intuition. Similarly, in magic, practicing tricks repeatedly allows magicians to master the necessary sleights, timing, and audience misdirection. Regular practice helps both cooks and magicians enhance their abilities and deliver consistent and impressive results. That's why I encourage you to get out there and perform. Just like you shouldn't prepare a recipe the first time for your guests, you need to practice your tricks before presenting them. But once you've mastered some of the basics, it's time to share what you're creating with someone so that they can enjoy it with you. Magic books, like cookbooks, often provide a wealth of knowledge beyond the recipe or trick being taught. They may include historical context, theory, principles, and additional resources to expand your understanding of the art form. And like many recipes, the classics are often just as good as the latest and greatest creation. These areas of principle, theory, and additional resources are often more valuable than the underlying trick that you're learning. Just like cooks gradually accumulate a repertoire of dishes, magicians build a repertoire of tricks from various sources, constantly adding to their knowledge and abilities. While there are similarities between learning magic from books and learning recipes from cookbooks, it's important to note that magic often involves live performances and audience interaction, which adds an additional layer of challenge and excitement not always found in cooking. But just like cooking, if you're not sharing what you're learning and creating with others, then it can be a complete waste. People are hungry for entertainment, and maybe your magic or culinary skill is exactly what they need to fulfill that void. So get out there, learn some great recipes for good magic, and start sharing it with others. If you want to get some tips to speed up your learning curve, be sure to check out this video here. And as always, my friends, I appreciate you watching. And until next time, keep reading. Oh, and keep learning from those cookbooks.